For me, this is the most important lecture across the whole course. As I designed this course and I prepared the course material a few weeks after I passed my PFMP exam, I can remember what are the topics that were tested heavily in my PFMP exam, and I'm listing here 13 topics where the majority of the exam questions will come from. While studying for the exam, you need to give attention for the 16 portfolio management processes with additional attention to the following topics. So first of all, you need to understand the 16 portfolio management processes. You need to understand the inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs of those 16 processes. And the first topic, key topic, the inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs, or the ITTOs. It stands for inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs, and almost all PFMP aspirants are scared of ITTO-based questions, and they try to find the easiest way to solve them. This is never-ending process because there is no shortcut to solving these types of questions. In the PFMP exam, in my exam, at least I had 15, maybe more questions describing a specific process, one of the 16 processes, and asking you indirectly about the documents you need to start this process or the documents you should have before you start this process. It's asking about the inputs or what can facilitate this process, the tools and techniques, or what are the expected outcomes or results of this process, and these are the outputs. So you should understand and memorize the ITTOs for the 16 processes. There is no workaround for this. I know it's hard, but in order to guarantee at least 15 questions in the exam, you need to memorize the ITTOs for the 16 portfolio management processes. The second key topic will be the weighted ranking and scoring techniques. They are used for ranking and scoring the portfolio components as part of the governance management knowledge area within each category based on the values assigned. Portfolio components are ranked according to the pre-established criteria, and we covered those techniques in detail as part of the governance management knowledge area section. In my PFMP exam, I had 5 questions about this technique, and they were all in the form of a table and asking you about the correct components priority, or which components is the most important, or which of the following components can be ignored. All these questions requires you to do the weighted ranking and scoring techniques. Expect questions about single criterion. I had 1 question only about the single criterion method, 2 questions about the multiple criteria, and 2 questions about the scoring models. And I gave you examples about such questions in the frequently asked questions section. The third key topic, and actually it's not covered in the standard, and I did not cover as well in this course, but we solved 2 questions about the composite index in the frequently asked questions section, and it can be defined as a statistical tool that groups together many different indices in order to create a representation of overall portfolio performance. Typically, the elements of a composite index are combined in a standardized way so that large amounts of data can be presented easily. In my PFMP exam, I had 2 questions, 2 math questions about the composite index, and we solved similar ones in the FAQ section. The fourth topic is the portfolio efficient frontier, an important tool used in managing the portfolio performance, as it gives the decision makers the analytical tool to optimize portfolios given the resource constraints. The portfolio, referred to as efficient if it has the best possible expected level of return for its level of risk. Diversification may allow for the same portfolio expected return with reduced risk. It should be noticed that efficient frontiers are not static, and organizations should monitor cost-benefit ratios on continual basis. I had 3 or 4 questions in my PFMP exam about this tool. One of them was in a text format, like asking about the purpose or the definition of this tool, and 3 of them were in the format of a graph with various portfolios, giving some information about the risk tolerance of the organization and asking you about the best portfolio to select. So it's very important tool for the PFMP exam. Probability impact assessment. Risk probabilities and impacts are rated according to the definitions given in the portfolio risk management plan. In the PFMP exam, expect 2 questions with tables about the probability impact assessment. They were both math questions in my PFMP exam. The table will have 4 threats and opportunities for risks, with opportunity and impact given for each risk and asking you about which risk should be addressed. So you need to do some simple math in order to address the risk or find out the risk with the highest priority. The portfolio management plan is one of the most important topics for the PFMP exam. At least I had 10 questions targeting your understanding about the portfolio management plan and what are the key sections of this plan. I was tested heavily about the governance model and providing the portfolio oversight, 2 key sections of the portfolio management plan. So refer back to the developing of the portfolio management plan process and make sure you understand the key sections of this plan. Topic number 7 is the gap analysis, which we perform to compare the current portfolio mix and components with the new strategic direction and the to-be organizational vision. This is essential to properly manage strategic change, and this analysis determines the gaps and changes needed in the portfolio mix in order that components may be added, changed, or terminated. In my PFMP exam, 3 questions were asking about this technique, what's the purpose of applying this technique, and how it can be applied. The project management information system is an important tool. It's manual or automated, and we use for information collection and distribution to support the portfolio management processes. The PMIS may include costs, performance matrix, risk information, and other information that is needed to manage and control the portfolio performance. In my PFMP exam, I had 5 questions about this tool and how it can be used, and specifically the importance of the PMIS in the portfolio reporting. The governance model also is an important topic for the exam. It defines the way the organizational assets and resources are planned to be managed within the portfolio according to the specific environment of the organization. It establishes and tailors the decision-making rights and authorities, responsibilities, rules, and protocols needed to manage progress based on portfolio risk towards the achievement of their organizational strategy and objectives, and this is accomplished through control setup as gateways for each stage of a project. So this is the description of the governance model, and in the standard or in the course you can have more information about this model. In my PFMP exam, I had 8 questions, maybe plus or minus 1, asking about this model and its key components and how it can be used with the governing bodies. The portfolio risk register, an important portfolio artifact where all the portfolio risks are being documented. The development of this risk register begins with the first risk management process, develop the risk management plan, and it is updated as a result of managing the portfolio risks process, and the information in the risk register will subsequently be used and updated by portfolio management and portfolio risk management processes. In the PFMP exam, expect at least 6 questions asking about the components of this register and the updates occur in this register after managing risks and how it can be used as a reporting tool for governing bodies. Risk attitude, it's a high level or at the high level and shows the natural inclination or basic nature of organizations, if they are willing to take risk or not. It represents a response chosen by stakeholders which is driven by their perception of specific situation. Expect 2 to 3 questions in your exam about the risk attitude and how you can classify a stakeholder as a risk taker or risk averse based on the 3-point estimates. And I covered this in the fact section. Common techniques, tools and techniques, like actually each of those techniques I'm listing in this paragraph was tested in my PFMP exam. I had a question about the trend analysis, a question about the variance analysis, scenario analysis, quantitative analysis, capability and capacity analysis. All these techniques will appear frequently in the exam, so you should expect at least 10 questions about the mentioned tools and techniques. The last topic will be the prioritization analysis. The portfolio strategic plan should contain a prioritization model or approach that guides the ongoing decisions as to which portfolio components should be added, terminated, or changed. Expect at least 3 questions about this technique. Now, those are the 13 key topics which you need to focus on. Like more than 50 or 60% of the exam questions will be about those topics, and I'm sure you will thank me while you are solving those questions in your PFMP exam.